Well, hello there, amazing people. We are going to look at the best Linux distros in 2022 and it's by Coda. The thing is, it depends on the person. This is like a highly subjective matter. My top 5 may not be your top 5, or best, or top 1, or top 2, or something like that. It all depends on what you're doing, what you expect, and what you need out of the distributions. So let's dig into this here. Okay, so I guess this is like we are just listening to nice tunes. We're not really getting any speed, so I hope I'm not getting copyright slapped over my face. But first, Fedora, if you have RAM higher than or equal to 4 gigs and you care about the looks, well, you can get like really slim down versions of Fedora that you can run on a toaster. So that, yeah.
Personally, I think Fedora is the best Linux distro right now in 2022. It is a lightweight distro from Red Hat Enterprise.
No. So, it's not a distribution from Red Hat Linux Enterprise. Fedora is the code base that then will be formed into Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So a lot of confusion about this because Fedora was originally based on something called Red Hat. But Red Hat and Red Hat Enterprise Linux, same company, different distributions. The names are kind of the same, so a lot of confusion is being made about that. Briefly, Fedora is being done by the community and with a lot of Red Hat support and development effort. When there's a new version of Red Hat Enterprise Linux going to be made, they freeze the code base for Fedora, put it into its own little, let's put it up here, repositories, they refine it, they certify it, they bug test it, they stability test it, and that becomes the base of Red Hat Linux Enterprise. And Fedora just keep going on down here, where Fedora is kind of its own little thing, or not Fedora, Red Hat is its own little thing. So Red Hat Enterprise Linux is actually based on Fedora, believe it or not the other way around. And it's a common misconception.
It has some very useful inbuilt apps. Let's open up the system monitor to see how it is done. As you can see, it only uses 1 GB of RAM and the CPU usage is also very low.
So why are we watching this? I'm sorry, but this is not giving me like, oh yeah, let's install it. Like most Linux distributions, I have right now 5 or 6 in a VM. They all use kind of the same fucking around on memory and CPU usage. We're talking maybe a couple of 100 megabytes difference, and CPU percentage use maybe 1%, under 1% difference. When you open up Firefox or Chrome, it goes out of the window. They all fucking hogging your system like a motherfucker. If you want to choose a Linux distribution and you're only looking at how much RAM they're using and how much CPU they're using, you will never find a good Linux distribution because what you're looking for is a Linux distribution that can run on a toaster. So if you have a toaster, that's probably what you should be looking for. But if you have a dual core and up, this is almost meaningless. If you're 4 core and up, and 4 gigs or 2 gigs and up, this becomes meaningless.
It is very fast and also receives updates very early. It is based on GNOME, so it has tons of other features.
It's not based on GNOME, it's utilizing the GNOME desktop environment. That's a separate project from outside in the community, from outside Fedora. Granted, there's a lot of Red Hat and Fedora people working on GNOME also, just like there is with Ubuntu and other Linux distributions contributing to the GNOME code base. Again, I was expecting some really good points why this is a good distribution, other than just it uses GNOME. It gets fast updates. What about the stability of it? What about how easy is it to set up as a gaming station, a workstation, a multimedia playback system and stuff like that? That's stuff that we want to know as a desktop user. Don't care that much about look and feel. Well, we kind of do, but we can always change that. Based on GNOME, If you like GNOME, that's good, but you can get the KDE version, you can get the XFCE version, you can get the Cinnamon version of Fedora also. It's a little bit like saying, oh, I like, this is the best car of 2022 because the paint is nice and the rims are nice. Oh, the mechanics are really fast.
There is the light and dark mode.
I do like the music though. All of this is like, also he's running it from the live system. He haven't even installed, which is really weird because the installation process is also what I would be gathering or using as an argument for what I would regard as a good, let's say, beginner distribution, or not novice, it's the same, experienced distribution. So Fedora, medium, because the installation process is kind of a little bit iffy-diffy. Ubuntu, really, really newbie friendly with the installer. Arch Linux, yeah, you need to understand how to read a document, so maybe intermediate, which can also help determine what a user want out of that distribution. What he's doing here right now is the equivalent of clicking the start menu and reading every program in the start menu. Meaningless. It's not information we can use for anything. Actually, reading up the pre-installed programs on the system is more informational than what we have seen up to now.
You can set default apps from here.
You can do this on any distribution. That's one GNOME in this. But you can actually set that on any distribution that have a desktop environment. But you can do it like this on any distribution that runs the GNOME desktop. Ubuntu, Zorin, Fedora, Debian have it. OpenSUSE have it. I could go on. Arch Linux you can install with GNOME. So if this is the reason why he loved this as number one, well then he should love any Linux distribution as number one.
I would advise you to go through the settings and customize it in the way you want.
I'm really sorry, but I really try not to be a fucking idiot about this, but he's not really showing us anything. But this could be an amazing promotion to show off GNOME, not Fedora. He's not showing us any Fedora-specific technologies. What about DNF, SE Linux, and stuff like that? But what he is showing is, look how nice GNOME is. Look how we can customize GNOME. So I'm a little bit confused here. Maybe you guys and girls can help me out a little bit.
Overall it looks great and works great. I would advise you to install.
Oh, that's something we should look at. We should have looked at.
Overall it looks great and
so problem report, the thing you see right here, this is a Red Hat and Fedora specific tool that helps you report back problems and stuff like that, bug reports and so on, to the system. Ubuntu have their own versions also of this, or their own equivalent of this. So this could be a really good thing to say, you know what? I really like Fedora because this tool is better than the Ubuntu's equivalent, or it gives users a really, really easy, convenient way of submitting bug requests or bug reports, back to the coders, the developers, so they can fix it for you. Again, we're just being shown off GNOME. We're not being shown off Fedora, but we're being shown off GNOME.
Works great. I would advise you to install Fedora only if you have 4 GB of RAM or more.
Which is a lie, you can run it on a toaster. Just choose the right environment.
If you don't have that much, then Linux Mint is option for you.
They use this... Linux Mint Cinnamon and the GNOME desktop is almost equivalent on usage. Like they're almost identical with the performance that they require out of our system. Almost identical. Oh, I have to say, why is that? They are both utilizing the TTK libraries to display shit on the wall, on your screen, and it's a really, really heavy library. Not really that well optimized for it's optimized for performance, but not efficiency. Let me put it that way. Cinnamon and GNOME, they're kind of going hand in hand, and I'm curious to see what you say about this.
Linux Mint Cinnamon is what I call the super fast distro without looks.
Without looks? It looks... Like, yeah, it looks is subjective. You know, some find big bottom girls beautiful. Some find, you know, toothpick girls beautiful. I would like say, yeah, I kind of like it. It's not ugly, it's not beautiful, but I would not be against using the default theme in Mint. It's not my favorite thing, but I'm not hating it.
It does all the work you would want from a desktop. It is really lightweight and apps open in a flash. If your system is not so fast.
Yeah, what he's talking about here, it opens programs in a flash and stuff like that. That's animation speed. GNOME is notorious for having slower animations that you know allow you, let's say, firepower to go up on your screen and stuff like that. You can turn that down with an extension. You can actually turn it all the way off. So the animation latency is basically none or zero. So the programs seem snappier and open snappier. What he's like I said, what he's talking about here is like the you know, animation speed of the programs and stuff like that when they open up. Mint seems to have really, really low animation speed, so you barely see the animations. Where on GNOME you see a little bit more of animation. So my hand here is, you know, close program, it's open up into like it's let's say it's going down here from the taskbar and then it's opening up. So under GNOME it would be something like this. Under Cinnamon it would be something like this. So it's just the desktop environment that have tuned animation speed to a different parameter. Again, has nothing to do with Mint specific, but to do with Cinnamon specific. So if he took the Cinnamon edition of Fedora, he would have the same experience right now. Is it the desktop environments that he's rating or the distribution?
Then this is the best option. It is based on Ubuntu, so it is better for beginners.
There's nothing to do with it being better for beginners. Being based on Ubuntu, the only thing that makes it easier for newbies that it's based on Ubuntu is if you want help and support, there's more of it. Almost any fucking thing you can dream of that you need help with Linux, there is an Ubuntu guide for it. Anything you can dream of, there is an Ubuntu guide for it.
You can do a bit of customization from the settings.
Here's the thing, you can do more customization on the Cinnamon than you can on the GNOME. And again, he is reviewing the desktop, not the distribution.
You can change the color shades from here. It would be better for you to go through all the settings and customize it the way you want.
I don't know if it's better for you to do so. I would be like, you do it if you want to. It can be a little bit overwhelming for new people or people in general to go in the rabbit hole that is customizing Linux or Linux desktop environments. Itchy nose, by the way. I kind of want to crack out the fucking guitar and play some music now. Yeah, he's showing off the desktop environment. This is not a distribution. What is the best desktop environment in 2022? Oh, what specs is he using? A Core i3 2-core? Oh, he's not using VirtualBox. He's using QEMU, I think. Nice.
Let's open up our system monitor to see if this can beat Fedora in system resource usage. It only uses 8.
Yeah, so this is not a Fedora problem or a Cinnamon problem. Also, you have to remember that Fedora runs SE Linux in the backend. I think this runs AppArmor, and I think SE Linux is a bit more of a security hog. Not security hog. resource hog. GNOME, the desktop environment, is a more memory hog than Cinnamon is, even though they are based on the same technologies. But this is still like, we are talking 120 something megabyte difference. Let's just say 200 megabytes different. Maybe let's just say 300 to be nice, which is basically meanness. Also, he's not using a swap partition here as he does under the Fedora install. And also, I think this is run from the live ISO, which is skewing both memory and CPU uses a lot. So this is not a good argument. 300 megabytes today is not a good argument. If it was, you can get, if you install a bare bone KDE install, you can run it on under 500 megabytes. That's a big fucking difference between 850 or 70 something or 1000 or 1.1 gigabytes. Like, that's half, over half of the memory used. But when you open up Firefox, when you open up a program, all of that goes out of the window.
800 MB of RAM. That is quite astonishing. Like I said, it is really lightweight and fast.
Why are we looking at this? Get on with it. And if you look down here, it has cached 1.1 gigabyte. I didn't see how much it did cast under GNOME, but I guess it's kind of the same. And this is, I've talked to a lot of people about this. We need to understand cached memory and preloaded memory and stuff like that, because I think this is probably more likely how much is actually being used. But because it's cached and a lot of technology is going into it, you still have it available. But because you have room to cache programs to let them start up faster, the operating system do that for you. Again, it's a totally different rabbit hole to go into.
It comes with a lot of useful apps.
Same as GNOME or Fedora.
Overall, this is the best Linux distro if you don't consider the looks. Obviously,
it's not ugly. Why do people like? I don't know. Again, beauty is subjective. Someone may well say this is the most beautiful of the two.
You can customize, but I think Fedora looks better than this. But
Fair
the better
enough.
performance is for Linux Mint.
I just want a Linux system that can do all the work. If you just want dyslexia here, if you just want a Linux system that do all the work, then Linux Mint is the best option. Also, it's based on Ubuntu, so it will be better for again address this.
So you decide.
Rather, if you want to get the latest updates and know how to use distros other than that on Ubuntu, then Fedora is you can have Tumbleweed, Arch, Debian Test. I'll recommend these because it works fast, use less system resources, and will get the job done. In the video, the clips may look a bit laggy because my system specs are not great, and at the same time I was also recording. And I think you were using a live session. What this is, I can make this video great by one sentence. I will not regard this as a really useful video, not a really informational video, not really a good video. For the title, the best Linux distro in 2022. But I can make it the best, one of the best, and maybe close to the best Linux videos about something that's the best in 2022 by saying this: the best desktop environment in 2022. Now the video is totally valid, it's amazing, it's great. Take out a lot of the fucking stuff and we're just looking at the fucking bars go over. We get the point. We get that it's using 200 less megabytes or something like that. Yes, we get that the animation speeds are slower on Ubuntu or on GNOME versus Cinnamon. But from going from being a almost useless distribution about distributions to being a really informational video about desktop environment, change it to the best desktop environment in 2022. That makes it a really valid video. Here. This response specific in these videos are very much available in many distributions. Let's see what he's saying here. The difference is that they perform better than on other distributions. You can't see a distro like Linux Mint with all its features and also with less system memory. Fedora is the best if you are a big fan of no, it's not. No, it is clickbait. It is clickbait. We didn't see any Mint-specific tools. What about the Mint updating tool? Didn't showcase that. What about the Mint tool that allowed to put browsers into your app like ICE? Let's go back to Fedora. What about SE Linux, Red Hat Fedora technology? What about the reporting tool? What he showcased here was desktop environments, not the base distribution. Here's the thing. Take Fedora Cinnamon Edition. Install that and see what the memory use is. See how snappy it is compared to the GNOME version. I will say this is clickbait. As a people, what is he saying here? But of the starters, of those who are confused about what distribution start with, he didn't show off a distribution, he showed off a desktop environment. I'm getting a little bit animated here. I'm inclined to respond to this one because it is confusing a shit ton of people. Anyway, see you all later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.